Alright everyone, we've got to talk about the corporate media lying again. You see, what you do is, for the first couple of days of a story, you put out your lies, and then you quietly issue a retraction and nobody pays attention to it because it's already old news. This is done time and time again. It doesn't matter what firm it is. Business Insider literally had to issue a retraction. Like, oh, the article's been corrected on this. The original cost of the mother of all bombs was said to be like, what was it, 360 or something million dollars, some insane total. And then they came out and they backtracked a little bit. They said, oh, actually, technically speaking, it's only like 16 million, but it's still a lot of money. Now, all of these places, the MSNBCs, Business Insiders, salons, being liberals, blah, blah, blah. They started creating all these, like, weird-ass infographics. Oh, you could have paid for so many school lunches with this money. You could have helped so many families in poverty for this money. But instead you had to bomb, you know, it's ISIS, but, oh, you had to drop bombs on people. They didn't want you to think about who the bombs are being dropped on. You know, that group that started springing up under W and Obama because of their inept foreign policy. There's a reason that I support striking ISIS. I simply don't want to strike Assad or the government forces or some of these other groups within the Middle East. I don't want war with anybody. ISIS has made it fairly clear, though, at this point, they're at war with us anyway, whether we like it or not. And largely, it's the result of U.S. inept policy. People like Clinton destabilize Libya, Bush destabilize Iraq. That's what led to their rise. It turns out that the mother of all bombs, the actual cost, it's not $360 million. It's not $16 million. It's $170,000. I can't think of a cheaper weapon system that could be used to accomplish this under these circumstances. You know, those Tomahawks we fired, what, I think it was 60 of them or something. The cost was like $90 million. It's a lot of money for a heck of a lot less blast than using one of these. Now, I understand with some of those missiles, yeah, you can fire them from quite a distance, and I believe that the mother of all bombs has to be dropped by plane. Seemed to serve its purpose fairly well. It was a lot cheaper. Yeah, it was a good move from a fiscal standpoint, too. That $170,000, yeah, it's still a lot of money. Admittedly, but it's not 360 million. And these sites, they wanted to talk about the morality of the situation. Oh, we're bombing people again, bombing the Middle East, you know, even though it's Afghanistan, it's Central Asia, has nothing to do with the Middle East. We're, you know, probably civilian casualties. Last I checked, I don't think there was a single civilian casualty. Just a bunch of dead ISIS members. Now that 36 or 50 or whatever total they're giving probably doesn't count people that were underneath at the time when the tunnels got flattened on top of them. Yeah, they're probably dead too. It's going to take some effort to excavate those bodies a million years from now, since they're under like possibly 100 yards of rubble that collapsed on top of them. Very, very painful death for them, by the way. And little more than they deserve, I suppose. But people wanted to attack Trump on this on two tokens. The morality of the situation, when this is one of the few operations we've seen of any size lately, where significant weaponry is used and there aren't like civilian casualties or something like that, so that's a good thing. Number two, it's dirt cheap. It was dirt cheap to do this, compared to, you know, sometimes we fire a few missiles, we pay like $100 million to do it, but apparently there's no consignment on this weapon. It's just built by the Air Force itself. It's not through a military contractor. And now you see the difference. Now you see the problem with the inefficient cost use of our military. They work with some other company, some no-bid firm, that has a monopoly to create things, and they drag their heels and they deliver a product that they then mark up 10 times. So instead of that bomb costing $10 to make, it suddenly costs $50 a piece. Instead of this tool costing $5 like you can get at Home Depot, it suddenly costs $200. Yeah, there's a lot of our discretionary military spending, by the way, right there. This weapon is exempt from that. And it worked. No American lives lost. And apparently the local townspeople were all sorts of happy about the fact because a significant proportion of all of the militants harassing them were now dead. Yeah, that's a good thing for the world. We should do this a lot more. But one thing we should not be doing, this is where I deeply disagree with some elements of the Trump-style foreign policy, when he attacks the Syrian government's people at the airstrip or something like that, I oppose it. It risks an actual war with a state actor. I'm not talking about militants, so I oppose that. It could harm civilians. It could denigrate the ability of people like Assad. Like him or not, consider him crazy or not, he's fighting ISIS. We should be on the same side as him. I don't care about human rights abuses. Yeah, look at what ISIS does on a daily basis anywhere where it operates. We should be backing Assad. We should be giving Assad lethal aid, not funding the FSA. So I don't support the idea of dicking around in Syria, but if we know that there's a tunnel network being built by a bunch of ISIS members, and we drop one of these relatively cheap weapons on top of them, I would think we get a good return on our investment, especially in terms of psychological warfare. There's really no structure they're going to be able to create that can stand up to that kind of blast in the first place. Good. So the corporate media lied completely. Where did they even get this $360-something million number? Right out of their ass. It's 170,000. Two totally different sums. We should build thousands of these weapons. It'd be way cheaper than building some of these other bombs and missiles that it's like the F-35 or any of these like modern aircraft cost like 10 times as much as aircraft that work perfectly fine for any combat scenario that we were already fielding. We should have just built 1,000 new A-10s and a bunch of F-16s or something like that. That's what we should have done. We should regress back half a stage in this tech and just massively proliferate and make more of it. And we'd have you can't even fathom that amount of air power, the sea power that we would have. Instead of developing new weapon systems that in some ways and cases are not that different from existing systems, why don't we save ourselves some money? And why don't we semi-federalize some of this, because apparently it's so much cheaper. Yeah, the one situation in which a government monopoly is cheaper than a so-called private business entity through an intervention-style system. Yeah, we get this for 170,000, and it has probably 10 times more explosive force than all the Tomahawks. It costs like, what was it, 93 million that we dropped on that airfield in Syria. That's a pretty good return on investment if it's used properly. Kill 36 ISIS members? Yeah, that's a sound investment. Almost cheaper than shooting them up with bullets. And we just flatlined a significantly large terror cell in this particular region, in Nanjahar, whatever the heck it's called. It's hard to pronounce those things. I said Kandahar in the first video. People are like, are you crazy? I actually put a correction in the description. I think it's Nangarhar, if I remember correctly. A lot of hars over there. There must be some linguistic trait. But this is not the Middle East, it's not a state actor, and it doesn't cost 360 million. So stop posting the stupid infographics. Oh, we could have paid for a million school lunches. We could have paid for building several new hospitals for this. No, you couldn't have. No, absolutely not. You could have built a house, a single house. I would think that, all the houses that those ISIS terrorists are potentially blowing up or attacking and then like assaulting people inside, yeah, I'd think that's a good investment. A really good one. That's about all. Peace out.